How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about CEI Camber Energy. It was down around 10.6% on the day. So knowing that it had quite this pullback and we've seen a lot of weakness inside of the market, and now I'm getting that question. Dre, should we be buying in right now to look forward to another pop to $1? We'll talk about it further in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Camber Energy. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 91 cents, being down 10.66%. On the low, it tested 90 cents, and then on the high, testing $1.02. Taking a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 53.113 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 51.648 million shares. So you can see we did have above average volume, but we dealt with some selling pressure. We did see some weakness in the markets. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 53.15. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, but we are still above the 21-day EMA, the 100-day, and as well as the 50-day. So the slight pullback we see inside of Camber, I am not bothered by this whatsoever. It is natural, and we also do know there is strong resistance at this $1 level. And that's why I say when you take advantage of those dips inside of the stock when it's trading below $1, there's some profit taking that's going to happen when it gets above it. There is that key level that we need to get past right here at $1.10, and the moment we could break through this level, I'd want to see if Camber can get all the way to $1.20. That would be a really good look, but most preferably we want to see if it could potentially make a move going to 167. I know this is one of the things that many people ask me about, and this move could happen, but we need to have that buying volume coming into play. We can't forget about that. So if it decides to pull back further going into tomorrow, I want to see if it can hold up support at the 21-day EMA, which is at 87 cents. If it breaks through 87 cents, then the next level you want to keep an eye on is going to be right here around 82 cents. If you guys remember, I was saying if we could just stay above 85 cents, I think that'd be a really good look, and we can look forward for another pop going above $1. But if it decides to consolidate, that is not too bad either, but if that's what you're looking for, it needs to stay above 88 cents. And then seeing what it does going into next week. As far as oil prices are concerned, I don't see any sign whatsoever that it's going to be coming into a drastic downtrend. So let's just continue to do updates, and I'll keep you guys inside of the loop. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for CEI. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 47.92%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 18.49 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 1.5 million, updated 15 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 33.88%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 19th, it was at 49.85, and then for the close of the 20th, being at 47.92. So this shows us that there's a lot of interest in regards to shorts, but one thing we have to be aware of, it doesn't have short squeeze potential whatsoever due to the fact the short interest percentage of the float is only at 9.85%. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for CEI. So we see on the inflows at 8.80 million, and then on the outflows at 15.31 million. So of course we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 1.30 million, on the medium it was 5.76 million, and then on the small it was 1.74 million. And then for the outflow side, on the large it was 1.89 million, on the medium it is 10.89 million, and then on the small it was 2.53 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for April the 21st, which which is today, we had that outflow of 0.58 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, you could see that we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And also to be clear, you can see for the large scale orders in the last 5 days, they were all selling. So we know there has been a lot of profit taking that's been happening. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 14.86%. So this is up there for a stock like CEI. But at the same time, you know what? It's not too bad. We already know how volatile it is. We already know a lot about the selling pressure, especially when it makes those pops above $1. It's something you got to be prepared for. You got to have a strategy. We've talked about it. You should have been able to bank multiple times on this play. So let's get into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for CEI, when it comes to the price action, if it continues to have a pullback, then I want to see support holding up at least at around 87 cents. And then the next level below that we know is 85 and as well as 82. And getting within those areas, it does become more attractive. And we know it does run with oil prices. So you want to be keeping an eye on that as well. As far as for resistance is concerned, you already know what it is. Soon as when it gets to $1, that's where the selling occurs. But we want to see that price action above $1, especially above $1.10, because that's where we can get a potential move to see if we can get to around $1.20 or $1.25. And of course, if we break through these levels, I want to see it trading at around $1.64. So again, keep this on your watch list. Add this to your homework. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it doesn't have short squeeze potential due to the fact of the short interest percentage of the float being below 14%. That is a criteria that I normally look for. I know that's going to be different for other people, but that's just what I see. But one thing that I do know, when there's demand inside of the market and there's a lot of buying pressure coming into the stock, especially when we see some spikes in oil prices, Camber moves very well. So if you're not keeping an eye on these particular variables, you are doing yourself a disservice. So let's see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. But one thing you know for a fact, on the Friday, look out for those levels and see a possible entry that might be right for you. We'll talk soon.